Hello, class. So what we're looking at today is section 3.7, inequivalent equations. So we are looking at just more solving today, solving square functions and solving square root functions. So our first step with solving squared functions is to isolate what's being squared. Take a square root on both sides. And then remember, I want that absolute value step after that, which is going to help you figure out how many solutions you have. So on the first one, I guess we have an example off to the side over here. We're going to subtract 6 on both sides. So 3x squared equals 6. Then we're going to divide by 3 so that x squared is equal to 2. And then we're going to take a square root. Because I had the square first and then the root, that's going to give me an absolute value. So absolute value x is 2, a square root of 2, sorry. And so to get rid of the absolute value signs, I have to have x equals plus or minus square root of 2. So you're going to go ahead and do a check your understanding. Remember, we're going to solve for our squared quantity first. So like this is the part that's being squared. This is the part that's being squared. These are a little bit trickier than what you've done on your own. So go ahead, pause, try them. So on number 1, I added 3 on both sides to get that 2x quantity squared by itself equals 64. And then I could do a couple different things. I could take 2x and think about how that whole quantity 2x squared is really 4x squared equals 64, and I could solve that way. Or I could just go ahead and take a square root. So if we wrote that that was 4x squared, we could divide both sides by 4. X squared is 16, square root, absolute value, x is plus or minus 4. So let's see what would happen if we just kept it this way. So if we keep it this way, I'm going to go ahead and square root both sides. And the square and the root would make an absolute value of 2x. Square root of 64 is an 8. So I would have 2x equals 8 or 2x equals negative 8. And then I would solve both of those. So on the next one, I would go ahead and subtract 16 on both sides. So I've got the quantity x minus 3 squared equals negative 5, and that means there's no real solution. So right away, when I go to take a square root, it doesn't work, no real solution. All right, moving on. When we're solving square roots, first we would isolate both sides. Isolate the square root term. Then we would square both sides. And then make sure you're checking your answers. Remember, we end up with extraneous solutions because we can't have square roots equal to negatives. So our example is over here on the right. We would add 4 on both sides. So square root of x minus 3 is 4. And then I would square and square. So because I had the root first, remember this is only x minus 3. 4 squared is 16, and then I would add 3. I would get x equals 19. And let's make sure that works in the original problem. So if I just do a quick answer check, if I take the square root of 19 minus 3 and then subtract 4, does that really equal 0? Well, square root of 19 minus 3 would be square root of 16. And the square root of 16 is 4. So 4 minus 4 does equal 0. So you're going to go ahead and try example 2. Actually, you know what? We're trying example 2 together. This is a weird one. Let's go ahead and subtract 9 on both sides. So now I have a square root of y plus 3 equals negative 9. So right here, you might be good at this, and you might be like, oh man, that's a square root equal to a negative. I can't solve. There's going to be no solution here. Or it's possible that you might just try squaring both sides. So if I square both sides, I can certainly work this out. And I would get 78. But if I put 78 back in, it's not going to work. So square root of 78 plus 3 is square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9, but 9 plus 9 does not equal 0. So the solution I got was extraneous. It doesn't work in the problem, and it means we've got no solution here. So be really careful as you work these through. So it's really nice if right away you can see square root equal to a negative and you know there's an issue. So you're welcome to just stop there. You don't need to solve and go back and do all this checking. All right, on the next page, you're just doing this is a check your understanding. So you're going to go through and work on these on your own. This is just the square root ones. That's kind of the new thing we're doing today. So go ahead and try solving and then unpause and I'll walk you through them. So on the first one, we're going to add 6 on both sides. So square root of t equals 6. Then I need to square both sides, and t equals 36. And that does work in the original. Square root of 36 minus 6 does equal 0, right? Because 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. So we're good to go. Second one, I subtract 6 on both sides. Square root of t equals negative 6. So hopefully right away you catch this, that there is no solution. If you keep solving and you get 36, it's not going to work in the original. Number 3, I want to add 4 on both sides. So I have 2 times that square root equals 12. Then I would divide both sides by 2. Remember, I'm trying to isolate my square root. And my square root would be equal to 6. Now I want to square both sides. So x plus 5 is 36. And then subtract 5, x is 31. If I check it, does it work? Let's do our little answer check. So 2 times square root of 31 plus 5. Of 31 plus 5. And then minus 4. Does that equal 8? So square root of 31 plus 5 is square root of 36, which is 2 times 6. That's an 8, not an 18. So 12 minus 4, yes, 8 equals 8. Answer checks out again. So on the next one, remember again, we're isolating our square root. So first I would subtract 2 on both sides. I have 1/3 times the square root of x minus 6 equals negative 1. And then to get rid of a 1/3, we would multiply both sides by 3. So that's 3 times 1/3 just makes a 1. And so I don't have to write it down. Now I just have square root of x minus 6. On the other side, 3 times negative 1 is going to be a negative 3. So now at this point, I have a square root equal to a negative again. So hopefully you caught that that was no solution. But if you're doing your answer checks, I mean, even if you did get 9, you could go back and see that it doesn't work. All right, so big ideas today are just continuing the solving idea. I think isolating the square root could be a little bit tricky. We didn't do a whole lot of examples of that. So hopefully you get to do more in class today. And as always, if you need help, please make sure you ask.